Failure. A word that carries so much weight. A word that often whispers defeat, embarrassment, rejection. But what if I told you that failure is not the end? What if I told you that failure is just data, a neutral messenger dressed in the robes of our fear? I've come to understand this, not from the comfort of castles or the cushion of titles, but through observation, through listening, and through the undeniable truth of the human experience. You see, the world is not made by those who never fall. It is shaped, forged, and rebuilt by those who fall again and again, yet rise each time, stronger, wiser, more refined. We must begin to see failure not as an enemy, but as an instructor, not as a verdict, but as feedback. It is not our downfall, it is our blueprint. From an early age, I've been taught that leadership requires resilience, but resilience is not a trait you're simply born with. It is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows with tension, with pressure, with discomfort. That discomfort, those moments when we come short, when we are told we are not enough, when we attempt something and the outcome defies our expectations, that is where resilience is born. That is where we are handed the data of failure. And with it, the chance to adapt, to evolve, to try again, but not from the same place, not with the same blind spots, with vision, with clarity, with purpose. You cannot run from failure, you cannot hide behind safety, behind perfectionism, behind fear. Because fear is a thief, it steals possibility, it steals growth, it steals the very essence of life. Those who fear failure more than they fear stagnation never reach their potential. They settle, they shrink, they convince themselves that comfort is success and survival is purpose. But the truth is, life begins at the edge of certainty. And if you are not failing from time to time, it means you are not trying hard enough. It means you are not stepping far enough outside your zone of security. It means you have allowed the illusion of safety to become your prison. I want you to imagine something, a scientist in a lab, running an experiment. They test an idea, and it doesn't work. They don't scream, they don't quit, they don't doubt their worth. They note it, they analyze it. They gather what worked and what didn't. They adjust. They test again, and again, and again, until something clicks, something lands, something shifts. That's how discovery happens. That's how innovation happens. That's how personal transformation happens. Why then, when we fail in life, do we not do the same? Why do we internalize what was meant to instruct us? Why do we call ourselves a failure, when failure is merely a result, not a reflection of who we are? You are not your outcomes, you are not your mistakes, you are not the opinion of those who do not see your full picture. You are a work in progress, and progress is messy. Progress is full of trials. Progress means falling face first into the ground and deciding, despite the pain, despite the embarrassment, that you will stand up, even if it means crawling at first. Because courage is not found in perfection, it is found in persistence, in the decision to show up again when everything inside you wants to disappear. I have seen people paralyzed by one failed attempt, a dream they shelved because it didn't work the first time. But why should it? Why should mastery come before the lesson? Why should reward come before refinement? You must earn the strength to carry the blessing you seek, and often that strength is earned through failure, through fire, through friction. We don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we're stretched. We grow when we are challenged to see ourselves differently. That is the sacred gift failure brings us. It breaks our illusions and shows us our edges. When I look at the future, I see a world that is desperate for bold hearts. Hearts that are not afraid to be bruised. Hearts that do not fear imperfection. Because true strength is not found in looking flawless. True strength is found in vulnerability. In the courage to try, knowing the odds, knowing the risk, but betting on yourself anyway. There is power in effort, there is nobility in striving, there is dignity in daring. And even when the outcome is not what we hoped for, the process itself shapes us. The journey itself teaches us who we are. Failure can humble you, but it can also liberate you. When you stop fearing it, you begin to chase what truly matters. You begin to make decisions not based on how others will judge you, but on what calls you from within. You listen to the voice that says, try again, go deeper, keep going. That voice will not always be the loudest. Often it will be drowned out by the noise of doubt, of ridicule, of hesitation. But that voice, the quiet, persistent one, is your compass. It knows your truth, and every failure is a test to see if you'll follow it, or if you'll fold. People will doubt you. People will laugh at your failures. But never forget, those who laugh often do so because they've never dared to try. It is easy to criticize from the sidelines, but the field belongs to those who risk, those who fall, those who bleed, and the one who falls 10 times but stands 11. She is the one who changes history. She is the one who redefines possibility. She is the one who inspires a generation not by showing them perfection, but by showing them perseverance. There is no shame in failing. The only shame is in not learning, in giving up when you were just one more try away from breaking through. Because sometimes the next door opens only after all others have closed. Sometimes the clarity only comes after confusion. Sometimes you find your purpose in the ruins of what didn't work. That is the paradox of failure. It looks like destruction, but it is often the beginning of creation. You must be willing to be broken, if you wish to be rebuilt with intention. So I ask you now, not just to dream but to act, not just to prepare but to pursue. And in your pursuit, do not fear missteps. Welcome them, study them, learn from them. Treat your life like an experiment in greatness. And when something doesn't work, adjust, not your value, not your worth, not your belief in who you are, but your strategy, your approach, your understanding. Because failure is data. It is feedback from reality. It is the world showing you how to refine your path. And if you listen, if you learn, if you adapt, you will evolve. Let others chase the applause. You chase growth. Let others seek perfection. You seek truth. Let others fear failure. You use it. Let it become your compass, not your cage. Because the most powerful people in the world are not those who never fail, but those who are not afraid to fail in pursuit of something greater. Those who would rather risk it all for a chance at greatness than stay safe and wonder, what if, for the rest of their lives? You are not here to live small. You are not here to play it safe. You are here to leave your mark, and that mark will not be defined by how many times you got it right, but by how many times you refused to stay down when you got it wrong. Your legacy is written not in the moments of ease, but in the storms you faced and the storms you overcame. So hold your head high, even when the world tells you you failure. Because every so-called failure is merely an unfinished chapter, and the story is still being written. Take the risk, start the business, write the book, make the call, show up even when it's hard, speak up, even when it shakes your voice, try again, even when you're tired. Because it is in these very moments, the ones where quitting feels easier than continuing, that character is built. That is the sacred space where destiny is shaped. Not when things go right, but when everything seems to go wrong. And yet you refuse to let that define you. Your dreams are worth failing for. Your purpose is worth falling for. And if you truly believe in what you're building, then no failure can destroy you. It can only redirect you. Let it redirect you to something deeper. Let it sharpen you. Let it strip away what no longer serves you. Because everything that is meant for you requires the version of you that is forged through adversity. That is the real reason failure is part of the process. It makes you who you must become in order to carry what is waiting for you. So the next time you fall, don't ask why me. Ask what is this trying to teach me. Don't say I failure. Say I've gathered more data. I've gained more wisdom. I've learned more about myself. Because in that perspective you become unstoppable. You become resilient. You become the kind of person who doesn't wait for perfect moments. You create them. The kind of person who doesn't give power to failure, but instead takes that power back and uses it to rise. Failure is just data, but what you do with that data, that is where greatness lives. That is where the extraordinary begins. And if you trust yourself enough to keep going, to keep learning, to keep growing, then no setback can stop your rise. Because your story isn't over, it's only just begun.